بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. We continue our study about wudu based on the book Masail Fiqhiyya by the late Allamah Sharaf. Last session we talked about wiping the feet. We said in the Shia Fiqh we don't wash the feet for wudu, we wipe because Quran is very clear. وَامْسَحُوا بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ وَأَرْجُلَكُمْ إِلَى الْكَعْبَيْنِ or أَرْجُلِكُمْ إِلَى الْكَعْبَيْنِ. If it is أَرْجُلِكُمْ, it's very obvious. If it is أَرْجُلَكُمْ, still it's obvious. We talked about this. And we said that even some great Sunni scholars, like Fakhr Razi, they have said that the Quran indicates masх, wiping. But because they have some hadith, then they said, okay, we need to interpret the Quran in the way that fits into the hadith. Or for example, they said, if we wash, it includes wiping as well, because they said washing is more than wiping. But we said, no, these are two different realities. Okay, that was our discussion last week. Now we have few more discussion about wudu. The first one actually is again continuity for the discussion about masх, wiping. We start masх from the fingers, the top of the fingers, up to where? The question is, Quran says, إِلَى الْكَعْبَيْنِ. Ka'bayn is muthanna, means two ka'b. Question is, what is ka'b? Okay? So, our Sunni brothers, they have somehow different understanding. They say two bones on the sides of the feet, these are ka'b. So on the right side and left side, these are ka'b. We say no, ka'b means joint. In Arabic, ka'b means joint. So when the foot and the leg, there's a joint, are connected, that is ka'b. Or the outstanding bone on the foot, up to there is also said, some people have, fuqaha have said, up to that is enough. Okay? So let us see what are different views and what is the argument. Allamah Sharafuddin says, Al-Ka'ban fi ayat al-wudu huma mafsal as-saqayn an al-qadamayn. The joint between leg and the foot, that is ka'b, بحكم الصحيح عن زرارة وبكير بن أعيان. زرارة ibn A'yan and Bukayr, those two brothers, sons of A'yan, they asked Imam Baqir, and Imam Baqir alayhi salam explained. Also Sheikh Saduq has narrated, and Ulama ul-Lugha, Arabic language, they have said that ka'b is joint for the bone. When two bones are connected, that is called ka'b. Our Sunni brothers, they said, إنما هما العظمان النائتان في جانبي كل الساق. So if, for example, this is leg and this is the foot, on the side, there are two bones, like circle, they said those are ka'bayn. So they have to wash it up to there. We say we wipe it up to the joint. They say we wash it up to there. Ayatollah Allamah Sharafuddin says Quran could have said in different ways. For example, when it comes to hand, said فَغْسَلُوا وُجُوهَكُمْ وَأَيْدِيَكُمْ إِلَى الْمَرَافِقِ. Wash your faces and your hands up to marafiq. Mirfaq is here, so up to here. Okay? It's said in plural. It could say إِلَى الْمِرْفَقَيْن, because mirfaq of right hand and left hand. With Ka'b, Allah has said to Ka'b, could say Ka'ab. Both are possible. Because if you say Marafiq or Ka'ab, means mu'mineen's hands or mu'mineen's, joints, so it's plural. If you are talking about one person, so it's two, right and left. Because some Sunni scholars try to say, if it was the joint between foot and leg, it should say, for example, two. And then two becomes four, so but be plural. We say no. One right, one left. Especially, there is also a possibility that some Sunnis have said, but he says it's not necessary for us, but some Sunnis themselves have said. They said under this joint there is another bone inside. Yeah. Nowadays we know all these things. They also knew. They had knowledge of all the bones. There is a bone that we don't see, and therefore there are three bones: bone of the foot, bone of the leg, and there is a bone under, which is under where they connect. So some said because of that it is plural. Some said this is not visible, but he says this is not what we say, and for us it doesn't make a difference. What we say is what ulama Arabic have said, that Ka'b means joint. Any joint between two bones is called Ka'b. And then we have Sunnah of the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt. So for us it's not a difficult thing. The next issue, so here we can solve it with Lugha and Hadith from authentic source. The next issue is, again for us is clear, but has been so much discussed in other schools, about wiping over shoe or boots. This is another issue. So some have said you can wipe over your shoes or boots mutlaqa, whether you are traveling or you are in your own home, you can do it. It's difficult for you to remove your shoes, just wipe over the shoe. Some people say في السفر دون الحذر. If you are in your own town or your own home, no. But if you are traveling, you can wipe over your shoes. Shia say you can never do it. Some also Sunni scholars have said you cannot do it. For example, Ibn Rushd, who is a philosopher, has a book on fiqh as well, Bidayatul Mujtahid wa Nihayatul Muqtasid. He quotes from Imam Malik, that Imam Malik also didn't believe in this. Then there is a discussion now that you are going to wipe over your foot or your shoe or your boot, which part of it? Some people say on top of it it's wajib and under it is mustahab. Masah asfalihi mustahab. Some have said on top of it from outside and inside. So you have to do mass inside also. So this is what some people have said. Mashu dhuhuraha wa butunaha. Some people have said only outside. And doing inside is not wajib or mustahab. Some people have said you have choice. You can do batin or you can do a'la. Then some people have said if you have shoes that have some holes, okay, they said if these holes don't stop saying this is boot, or if it is torn out, but still people say he has boots, for example, that's fine. This is again a difference. Another thing is how much this is, how long is this valid? Some people say annahu ghayru muaqqat. They said there is no limit. As long as this person has these boots on, it's fine. Ma lam yanza'huma. But if he removes the boots, then it's not okay. Or tusibahu janaba. It becomes junub. No, then it ends. So there are lots of differences here about this. Then some people said there is condition. And takuna rejlan tahiratayn. They said when this person wanted to put on the boots, the feet must be clean. If the feet was one of them was najis and then put on the boot, they said no. Okay? But Imam Malik said, it's reported that he said no, there is no condition that the foot should be clean. Then what makes wuzu of this person void? Some people said removing the boot will make the wuzu void. Some people say it remains till he commits something that breaks wuzu. So if he removes the boot is not a problem, but if, for example, he sleeps, then. Some people said if he removes the boots and then washes the feet, it's okay. The wuzu is okay. So you don't need to repeat the whole wuzu, just wash your feet after removing the boots. So you see, there are lots of differences here. But the Shia say no way to do mass on shoes or boots or anything. You must touch your feet. And there is no difference between whether you are traveling, you are not traveling, it's hot, always you have to, because Quran says, وَامْسَحُوا بِالرُّؤُوسِكُمْ وَأَرْجُلِكُمْ. This wiping should reach the feet. So, we have ayah which is very clear. This ayah is not ambiguous, it's very clear. And also these hadiths that they quote, because they are against what the Quran says. Rasulullah said, إذا روي لكم عني حديث فاعرضوه على كتاب الله. If a hadith is reported from me, check it against the Quran. فإن وافقه فاقبلوه وإلا فردوه. If hadith is in compliance with the Quran, accept it. If not, don't accept it. So we have Quran. There are some hadiths which support what the Quran says, and Shia have these hadiths from Rasulullah and the Ahlul Bayt. They have some hadiths which is suggesting differently. These hadiths are against the Quran. Plus these hadiths among themselves have no harmony. And this is why they have, many different fatwas. Ibn Rushd says the reason for example, not being able to identify where mask should take place is because they have different hadiths, conflicting hadiths. How can you, Allamah Sharafuddin says, how can you put hadith from Ahlul Bayt, who are one of the two thiqlain that Rasulullah mentions, next to the weak hadith that some other people have said, which is against the Quran? And if wiping was okay on the shoes and boots, shouldn't this have become very well known and established among Muslims? Because for several years they used to pray with the Prophet, and if it was okay, so everyone should have known, and many people should have done this. There was no need to then differ. Is it for safar or hazar, or is it for on the top, or inside, or both? Having so many differences shows that this was a new issue. Otherwise, it should have been very clearly established. And another point, he says, even if we suppose that this was at one time permissible, when this ayah from Surah Al-Ma'idah has come, وَامْسَحُوا بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ وَأَرْجُلَكُمْ, then it must have abrogated that. Because we know Surah Al-Ma'idah was revealed at the very end of the life of the Prophet. So if we want to be very much, accommodating that view, we say, okay, suppose at some point that was done. But this Surah Al-Ma'idah has been revealed at the very end. He mentions that some narrators, they said this person, for example, embraced Islam after Surah Ma'idah, and he says, no, we have evidence that this person was Muslim even before. So he has beautiful discussions here. I don't go to too much details. And then what is interesting is that even people, not only Ahlul Bayt, even Ibn Abbas and Aisha were against wiping on the boots. So these people also were close to the Prophet. So it is said that she used to say, لَإِن تُقْطَعَ قَدَمَاي أَحَبُّ إِلَيَّ مِنْ أَنْ أَمْسَحَ عَلَى الْخُفَيْنِ. If my 2 feet are cut off, is better than wiping on boots. And Ibn Abbas used to say, لَإِنْ أَمْسَحَ عَلَى جِلْدِ حِمَارٍ أَحَبُّ إِلَيَّ مِنْ أَنْ أَمْسَحَ عَلَى الْخُفَيْنِ. He said, if I do mass on the skin of donkey, is better than doing on the boots. So if wife of the Prophet is so critical of this, Ibn Abbas, that all Muslims accept as a knowledgeable person, against it. Ahlul Bayt are against it. Quran is against it. Why we should do it? Okay? At least we should do ihtiyat. Because there is no Muslim who says that if you wipe on the skin is a problem. Unfortunately, it has been reported from Karhi. He says, أخاف الكفر على من لا يرى المسح على الخفين. He says, I am worried that if someone doesn't believe in possibility of wiping on boot, becomes kafir. Allamah Sharaf says, is it usul ad-din? Is it furu ad-din? Why a person should become kafir for not accepting this? Which faqih has said if you don't do mass on boot and do it on the foot itself is problem? No faqih has said it. This is accepted by all. So this was a kind of unfortunately maybe extremism that he says أخاف الكفر على من لا يرى المسح على الخفين. So what do you think about Ibn Abbas? What do you think about Ahlul? What do you think about wife of the Prophet? Are you worried that they might be kafir? Inshallah, there are a few more things that we will talk, inshallah, about wudu and then other fiqh issues, inshallah, next sessions. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
They also wash the ears as well. Is it?
Yeah, we have a discussion that how much should be wiped.
Yeah.
We will talk about it. We say it does. Thank you. Some people have said all your head must be washed. Some people have said 3/4. We will talk about it.
That you look at masaha on boots.
Yeah.